Good evening, friends. On behalf of My Retired Life Foundation, we extend a very hearty welcome for this very interesting program to be. And that's a program on healing emotions. As you know, that all of us are human beings, and therefore we have emotions, very strong emotions. Not that the other species don't have; they do have an emotion, but we have very conscious emotions, we have unconscious emotions, and so on and so forth. So to talk on this particular topic of healing emotions, we have with us an expert faculty with us, who is our own member, Dr. Jayashree Giri. Dr. Jayashree Giri, the floor is open to you, madam. Please take it forward.
Thank you, Sengupta sir. I should thank you personally for giving me an opportunity to come back home and to connect to MRL members. Right now, I'm going through a positive emotion, and I should also say a special thank you to you, sir, again, because you've always been motivating me to share whatever little information I have, which I can pass it on to others, which can make them feel good about themselves. So today's topic on healing emotions is also a humble effort towards the direction. All of us know when COVID entered, it had made the world go topsy-turvy, and every one of us almost lived in fear and anxiety. Everyday living was a nightmare for many. Not only that, the physical challenges that added on to it worsened the situation. And many wondered that how long they have to go through this. Today, if you see, the intensity of fear has gone down. It's not the same as we experienced it there. Whenever we know the strength and weaknesses of an enemy, it becomes easy to handle them. When we know their strength and weaknesses as well as our own strength and weaknesses. So today we have much more knowledge about COVID virus. We have better ways to handle them, and we have adapted our lifestyle also to adjust to this. And COVID has also made us introspect about so many things in life. And one such important aspect which I want to remind you all, which probably could be the key to a good health, is, are emotions there to ruin our life? This is a question each and every one of us have to ask. You may say, ma'am, why are you asking like this? Because normally when we talk about emotions, most of us think about negative emotions like fear and anger rather than joy and happiness. Even though every human being quests to be happy always, but always there is this fear lurking in our mind. What is the purpose behind these emotions? What are these emotions? Do they convey a message to us? Looking at all these questions from the lens of an immunologist, a biologist, Candace Pert, perhaps could unlock the key to release the energy which we have and get us freedom from fear. So let us journey together today to unravel the mystery of emotions. And I hope we will be able to understand this concept of emotions, become more aware about our emotions, and then we will be able to handle it better. And perhaps it, I'm sure at the end of the, I'm confident that most of you will feel very happy to know about these emotions because it is positively oriented. That is the beauty of Candace Pert, who was the first one who gave a breakthrough to us related to this from the physiological point of view. And understanding the physiology of emotions itself can heal our emotions beautifully. Today, what we are going to do is just a brief glance about emotions. What does Candace Pert have to say about emotions? How does she look at it? And the 8-point program she has given to all of us to heal our emotions and have a good physical and enjoy good physical and mental health. So, what is emotion? Actually, emotion comes from the Latin word emovia, which actually means to move out. When you have certain emotions overpowering you, you get into so many actions which you yourself are surprised as to how could you do it. It's a big charger, we can say. And emotions, when we see, are subjective reactions to experience that are associated with both physical and behavioral changes too. Now, few days back, match between Pakistan and India. While in India, people must have gone through pain and sadness, people in Pakistan must have jumped with jubilation and joy. I mean, how each one, there is nothing called a universal situation where everybody feels the same, especially in today's world. So that is why we need to stress on this, that it is subjective reactions, and it is accompanied with physiological and behavioral changes. And if we become aware of that, that itself can become a big key to us. Now, why do we require emotions? Emotions is what makes us human, that adds spice to our life. We have plants, we have animals, we have human beings. Now, plants to express joy, but we are not able to see it. But plant lovers understand that. They say when you go and sit near a sick plant and talk some kind words or even send a vibration, they say the plant gets cured amazingly. There are a lot of research indicating this. You love a dog. Why? Because it senses your emotions and it gives you so much of joy. It can share your grief. It can assess your mood perfectly. But better than that is a human being who is capable of understanding, responding to emotions. But because he's been given a choice, often what we do is whenever we are given a choice, we always misuse it. So, but emotions, let us all understand, it is that which makes us humane. Emotions helps us to feel. It is always when we lose touch with our feelings is where we land into trouble. Often we deny our feelings, and that could create a lot of problems for us. But if we understand how we should become aware of this, that could really make us be very happy. Emotions helps us to organize our behavior. It is required for survival. Fear. We say why there is fear. If there is no fear, many of us would have perished, because fear is a signal for us to protect from danger. But if we misuse fear, it is not a mistake of fear. It is a mistake of our own misinterpretation of the situations. Emotions motivate us to take action. And all of us know that. Emotions help us to accomplish our goals. So when we talk about emotions, we find there are so many beautiful things about this which we need to pay attention to. There are types of emotions, both of them are positive and negative. Positive emotions lead us to feel very good about ourselves, while negative emotions we feel zaps our energy and makes us feel very low about ourselves. And sometimes this may lead us even not to show any interest in doing any activity also. Now, we also need to understand something about emotional intelligence. Even though people credit Daniel Goleman for emotional intelligence, it was Savlo and Myers who were the first ones who gave the concept of emotional intelligence. In fact, it is how does one perceive, one control and regulate emotions is all as emotional intelligence. There are few factors associated with emotional intelligence, which if we become aware, helps us. In emotional intelligence, we talk about perceiving. What does this mean? Perceiving emotions accurately. Not all of us are good at it. Getting the cues from the verbal and non-verbal, getting both the verbal and non-verbal cues through your body reaction, through facial expressions. And so that is the first window. Then reasoning. Emotions actually promote our cognitive and other thinking activities. It helps us to prioritize our behavior. We're emotionally tuned to look at something which catches our attention. Understanding emotion is equally important, which sometimes many of us lack. What do you mean by that? We need to understand the reason for the emotions. For example, let us say your husband exploded with anger. I'm just giving a general example. And then you wondered what happened? What was the reason? You thought everything was okay. The anger explosion at that moment perhaps need not be related to that day's event. Could be 2 days back, something which you said, which could have hurt him very badly. So even to interpret what caused and what is the emotion result also is an important cue for us. And then we also need to manage. Once we understand, we need to manage. What do we mean by that? Once we understand, we need to regulate these emotions, to direct them and see that we have appropriate behavior of expressing our emotions. Now, how does understanding emotions help us? We've already seen that emotion is important in life. Once we become aware of our own emotions and we learn the best ways to deal with our emotions and feelings, that helps us a lot. Learning, two things I want you all to understand, remember is it is okay to express our feelings. Especially this, I need to tell the ladies. More often we suppress our feelings. We don't want others to know. But as we go ahead, you will know how much harmful it is going to be to our body. And not only that, more often, I hope some of you will not mistake me for saying that, many people continue to have inappropriate behavior of expressing their emotions till they die. It's very sad. But then it continues like that. And one needs to understand that when you're living in a society, when you're living with others, one also has a responsibility to become aware of the appropriate way of experiencing emotions. Why is it so? Because that can improve relationship, that can make ourselves feel better, and it can help us also to release our own negative emotions. This is something which I want to stress on. Emotional hygiene. What is this emotional hygiene about? It's harnessing emotions for physical and psychological well-being. See, all of us are so much worried about physical hygiene, and especially after COVID, we know. A parent sees that the child brushes the teeth twice in the morning and before going to bed. But does the parent ever pay importance to whether how does the child react to failure? How is he able to handle fear? Do we ever help them? In fact, the concept of emotional hygiene is gaining ground only in the Western countries now only. Now, many schools have started introducing this concept of making children understand about emotional hygiene, because at least in our country we know so many youth lose their life because they are not able to face fear. I mean, they are not able to handle stress. All these things probably could be controlled if there was emotional hygiene a must in our curricular system. Let's come to Candace Burke because I want to pass on certain information what she has given, which probably help us a lot. Dr. Candace Burke was a research professor in the Department of Biophysics and Physiology at Georgia, Washington, D.C., attached to a medical school. She was a hardcore scientist who found out also the cure for AIDS. And she was the first one to unravel the physiological truth about emotions, which has totally revolutionized the way a psychologist thinks, the way a doctor thinks, the way you and me can think about emotions. In fact, unfortunately, the mentor under whom she did some research, in fact, she was more interested, she was doing research on opiate. How does it, why do people take to that, and how does it release their pain, and why is this addiction? And somewhere in the research, she accidentally happened to discover about the chemical mechanisms behind emotions. And the mentor under whom she did it, unfortunately, stole the idea and put it forward for a Nobel Prize. Once she came to know about it, she fought against it. And that caused a lot of problem for her. Being a female scientist, she had to face a lot of hardships. She also had some personal problems in a very happy marriage and a father dying due to cancer. You may say, why I'm talking about all this? All these are important to us because, it's said that the flapping of a butterfly can cause a tornado somewhere. The personal tragedies in somebody's life perhaps gives us some miracle cure for something which we are not aware of. All that and being scientifically bent made her do a lot of research about depression, about so many things. And we are all the beneficiaries of that. And what does she say? And in fact, Dr. Deepak Chopra, all of you must have heard about it. He was highly influenced by her discovery. And his 7 laws of spiritual thing also follows based on some of the things which he has talked about. She says that your mind is in every cell of your body. Most psychologists treat the mind as disembodied, a phenomena with little or no connection to the physical body. Similarly, physicians also treat the body with no regard to the mind or the emotion. But the body and mind are not separate. We can't treat one without the other. In fact, Dr. Deepak Chopra says she was the first Western scientist who validated what the ancient wisdom says, the unity between spirit, matter, and soul, which we'll be talking about later on, even though she did not talk about spirituality initially when she talked about all these emotions, but later on, she took to a lot of alternative healings and she started doing research on that. And she spoke about so many things which you and me would have already known about it thanks to our philosophy. But it always feels nice when science also arrives at the truth, because today many of them don't believe what the ancient wisdom says, but they don't mind when some scientists talk to them about the same truth. What does Candace Pert talk about? What is the perspective about emotions? I want you all to pay attention to this, because probably even an awareness of this could make us feel good about emotions. According to her, emotions means energy in motion. Emotions, she was the first lady to find out emotions are the movement of electrically charged chemicals, which she called it as neuropeptides. And she says different emotions have different electrical charges. When we talk about positive emotions, she says they're positively charged. Fear, anger, she says they're negatively charged emotions. And she says that emotions are an excellent information network. And it is not only in the brain, every cell, these neuropeptides travel to each and every cell in your body and brain. She was the first one to unite both of them. And she, when we go to the other slides, we'll know more about it. But right now, let us understand that when we talk about emotions, we are actually talking about some chemical movements of electrically charged things, which is called neurotransmitters, called as neuropeptides. And emotions exert different pressures on our body in different ways. In fact, she was the one who said that when you experience certain emotions, they're nothing but a cocktail of various hormones. Some of you must have attended the talk I had on happy hormones. Must be probably familiar with oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, endorphin, which we talked about. She says when you have pride, it's nothing but swelling of oxytocin. The more flow of oxytocin in your body. She says that when you're angry, it could be a tsunami of cortisol and testosterone. Excitement could be the rush of adrenaline and dopamine too. So you may say, what difference does it make? It makes a lot of difference to us because what normally happens to us when we experience emotions? Let us take this example. We get very angry. When we are very angry, what do? We speak so many things and we regret later. Why did I speak like this? So many marriages break, so many relationship breaks, friendship, end of friendship is seen. And we wonder, why did we feel? And Candace Pert tells you, look, I can help you in this. She says, once you become aware of the physiological changes that are taking place in your body when you experience emotions, that can make you handle emotions beautifully. We will see that when we talk about the 8-point program she's giving. But we need to understand there's one more thing which I want you to be informed about, which will help us a lot. What is that? Emotion, she says, whether it is negative or positive, has to be, they're all for a purpose. They're all for a noble purpose. All of us have to understand. Just as I told you, each and every cell in our body is wired with values. The cooperation with which they work, each and every cell in our body is amazing. The faithfulness with which your body serves you, no one else can do. How much of a stress you put on your heart says bichara and keeps on pumping more. It doesn't give up so easily. You want a holiday, but each and every cell in your body never thinks about holiday. They don't even think of changing the uh, organs. Each one does the work diligently. And for what? For us to enjoy life. Both our body, mind are beautiful instruments given to us to enjoy life. And if we understand the mechanism, then life becomes a celebration for all of us. Now, um, what she tells us, when we have positive emotions, we have no problem. Of course, all of us always want to be happy. We don't need to say that. But what if we encounter negative emotions? What happens when we are angry? She says that all these neuropeptides are laden with emotional content. Now, she says that when you are angry and you don't resolve the anger, either you suppress it or your inappropriate way of expressing the emotion, this emotion makes others uh, go far away from you. What happens is, she says, these emotion molecules, she says, they get stuck up in the cell. And what will happen when it gets stuck up? When it gets stuck up in the receptors, what happens is it affects your homeostasis. The homeostasis, the mechanism of bringing balance in the body. What happens is it also affects the blood flow. I will give you the examples. Third, it affects your immune system. What happens? She says, when you don't become aware of your negative emotions. Second, even if you become aware, you do not know how to express it, or you have inappropriate way of it. She says it is like a wrong key in a lock. So when these emotions are not processed, when they are not assimilated properly, she says it can totally disrupt your body function. And she says illnesses are nothing but the result of this. You will be surprised to know that when we experience certain illnesses, when various viruses enter, she also gives an example, I'll talk to you about that. She says the viruses normally try to enter through certain receptors, and but entering will be easy for it only if the neuropeptides are not large in number there and they are not there to bind. For example, she says reovirus is there for the cold. She says it is attached to a receptor called non-epinephrine, which is normally secretes more in elevated mood. If you're in a happy mood, she says the reovirus cannot enter. It has to literally struggle. I do not know how many of you must have listened during COVID time. Many doctors on the TV also told that people who were more scared ultimately succumbed to COVID. We saw 90, 95-year-old men surviving COVID. And one of the reasons that said was the courage with which they faced it. So what she says is that having positive emotions always would help our immunity system to be boosted better. It can function better. Not only that, illnesses cannot attack us so easily. So that is a very important thing which all of us need to know. And We all know about positive attitude. You may say, ma'am, it doesn't come so easily to us. What she is going to give us steps is how do we deal with the negative emotions? How do we become aware of it? She says, don't ignore them. They are giving you an important message. And she says, once you understand it and you work upon it, she says, then these things which have got stuck up to the various cells and not allowing the body to function fully, effectively, that will harm your health, physical and mental health. She says processing the unhealed emotions is as important as taking vitamins and minerals for your nutrition, because it can play a havoc with our immunity system. So Candace Bird talks about emotion. She talks it as the biology of molecule. Her book is called Biology of Molecules, Molecules of Emotions, where she says they are a beautiful network of information system traveling throughout to many cells in different parts. We'll talk about it when we're talking about even other processes like digestion, breathing, etc. And only if she says simple thing that once you become aware of these processes, that itself, she says, will help you to deal with these emotions. She has given an 8-point program to heal emotions, namely becoming conscious, accessing psychosomatic network, tapping into dreams, getting in touch with the body, reducing stress, exercising, and not stopping use of drugs and other things. So let us go one by one and see what they talk about. Becoming conscious. She says every day we have choices to do this or not. All the time we are doing something or the other. She says now stop being more obsessed with doing. She says your choice has to be more with being rather than doing. She says we are all human beings and not human doings. And so what does she mean by saying being and not doing? She says that when you are in the state of being, you become awareness of what's happening in your body. She says the key to healing emotions is becoming aware of your mental experience, emotional experiences, your basic physical experiences. She says you can train yourself to listen to the conversation at the subconscious level of body and mind. So I will tell you, she says that relaxation, creative visualization are some of the techniques which can make us be conscious and aware of what is going on. See, she is being an hardcore scientist, as I told you. She had a very strong scientific bent of mind. Everything, whether it was spirituality, everything, she would always peep through the scientific lens. When she had gone for one of the, when somebody invited her to talk about this, suddenly that lady asked her about how does she deal with pain and what is responsible for pain, etc. And then there she created a beautiful technique, which I'll talk to you at home. You all can try this. She herself has tried it. Initially, you may find it a little difficult, but then it is possible. She says that what helps to reduce pain? She calls it as beta endorphin, which is this thing in the pituitary gland behind the base of your brain. And she says it's nothing but a string of beads of 31 amino acids. Let me repeat. She talks about beta endorphin, which is one very important factor to reduce pain in our body. And she says it's got a bead-like structure of 31 amino acids, and they're all put into balloon-like pouches. And she says that when you are in pain, or generally if you want to have a good health, her suggestion is using creative visualization. Since we don't have time, I'm just telling you the technique. You can try it at home. She says, relax yourself, count back from 10 to 1. By the time you get back to 1. You're little relaxed when you repeat the number. And when you say 1, she says visualize these beta endorphins, coming out of the pouches, in the balloon-like structure of the pouches, and getting into the stream of blood throughout all parts of your body. And she says, just visualize that. And she says, it will have an impact on your body. It's also an important thing, according to her, in healing your emotions. Not only that, suppose you have a severe backache or leg pain or any ache in your body, she says you can use the same technique. Only thing is, at the count of 1, you visualize these beta endorphins rushing to various parts of the body, but pouring onto the part where you're experiencing pain. And she says, this creative visualization can help you. You may ask, ma'am, how can that be possible? Because she is the one who has united body and mind through emotional network. We have never, even though our ancient wisdom talked about it, somehow we have never understood the value of it. And she, after having researched, and when I talk to you about dreams, you will understand this better. She says, the suggestion, not even the suggestion, she says this is the actual organ in your body which is reducing the pain. And when you start visualizing them streaming into your blood, she says it can make it do also. This is all through her research she's come to it. So it's not a motivational speech or anything like this. And simple for us to understand, the first thing we have to remember in Candace Pert's program is we have to be more with being rather than doing. And we should become aware of our physical body. That is your digestion, your breathing, and other processes. There are so many clues for us to understand these processes, which we don't pay attention to it, that's all. And we tune ourselves to listen to what our body is saying. She says that can be one of the great healing system of all our emotions and even help us in our diseases to build up our immunity system. Now, she talks about something very important. She says the second important thing for us is to access the psychosomatic network. See, her research, she says that even a singular life has all these neuropeptides like us. But what's the difference? Is the network system. The network system we have in our body is much wider and broader and complex compared to that. That means every organism is gifted with these neuropeptides. Now, accessing psychosomatic network means what she says that you need to enter the body-mind conversation to redirect it. You may wonder, ma'am, how is it possible? She talks here of the role of frontal cortex. Many of us talk about the third eye here. She says the same thing behind this, the forehead. She says frontal cortex is what makes us human. In fact, chimpanzee does not have this, but whereas we have. And what is this frontal cortex? It gives us the choice to behave, planning, organizing. So many things come from this frontal cortex. And what is very important is adequate nutrition of this frontal cortex. And nutrition for all the parts of the body is ultimately through glucose produced naturally. I'm not talking about the sugar which we take, and that can increase the blood flow. And she says when there is an adequate nutrition to the frontal cortex, our ability to heal the emotions become greater. And one of the important things she tells us is, often what do? Suppose there is a painful experience. There is always, and many of us have this denial. We do not want to accept, because it's so unpleasant. The mind doesn't want to think about it. It always tries to suppress it. In some people, it works the other way. All the time, they're only thinking about the negative things and it is affecting them. It's all right, she says, you have gone through unpleasant things. But she says what is very important is you need to bring to the forefront this past experiences. Why? She says what is important for us is to how to remove this emotional block. As I told you, when an emotion is not is assimilated properly, or when a negative emotion is not healed properly, it is not processed properly, they all get stuck up into the cell, not allowing the body to function properly. So she says that when one learns to bring that into forefront, and if it is not possible for you, some of us, for some people, it may not be possible. That is why they need to take the help of a psychotherapist or so many other alternative healing techniques also she gives, through which one can become aware of this emotional block. And why is it? Once you unlock, she calls this emotional block like the dirt. If you keep your house every day clean, you don't have to worry. But for a long time, there is dirt. Removing it becomes little difficult. But then, with patience, if you can do it, she says it works wonder to your body. That's where you can really enjoy life, according to her. Now, tapping into dreams. For many of you, it may look, you may wonder, how is this going to help to heal our emotions? She calls it as a low cost, or she calls it as a no drug psychotherapy. In fact, Carl Jung, who worked under Freud, has written a book about dreams. Collective consciousness, he talks about so many things. According to Candace Pert, dream is a place where your mind is whispering, your body and mind is whispering to you so many things. What are they whispering to you? She says there is a continuous communication between the various neuropeptides in your body and mind, and they keep exchanging information. And during dreams, they give you a message. For example, you have some anxiety dreams. She says, don't get scared. In fact, when you experience the anxiety in the dream, that is also the way the body or the mind works automatically to heal the intensity of the negative emotion. So she says, don't get scared when you go through these nightmarish dreams. She says she herself believes that when she was searching for certain problems, especially for the AIDS cure, she got some message during the dream. In fact, I don't know how many of you are aware. In fact, there are many scientists who openly accepted this fact. Ramanujan, the great mathematician, would always say whenever he was struggling with a problem, he would always get a solution in the dream. So Jagdish Chandra Bose also talked about this. She says, through dream, your mind is giving you an information. Look, don't keep your negative emotions longer, because it is not going to help you. It is going to affect your health. So you may say, how is it possible? She tells, let me tell you, I told you that her mentor applied for Nobel Prize on the basis of her research related to neuropeptides. And then that created a lot of, bitterness between them. And she said she had a lot of anger within herself. And later on, she said she knew that one of the best way to release the anger was to forgive. And this is the one which has already been told to us. We know about it, but we say, ma'am, it is very difficult to forgive a fellow who has wronged me. You have to forgive that person, not for that person, but for yourself. When you let go, the person must have done knowingly or unknowingly, but the damage is already done. But when you let go, that what is happening? Your cells in the body is very happy. And she said once she was able to release the anger, and she wrote a letter, even though he did not respond to it. But she said a great burden got released from her heart. And she was very happy. She felt very nice. In fact, I've read somewhere that there is a place in Kashi where people who feel they're surely going to die within 15 days go there and stay. And a lady who had interviewed about some of them talks about one person who had a lot of anger. I mean, he was very attached to his younger brother. And somewhere something happened and both of them never spoke to each other. And when he's talking about it, she said, suggested to him whether he would like to connect and talk to him. And when he talked to him, he felt so nice. And she said, next day he died peacefully. So, forgiving, being compassionate, being loving to someone who's wronged you, you may say it's very difficult. But then, if you want to have a good health, because that's how your body mind function. She says your brain is hardwired with bliss. She says, what can hamper this bliss is all these negative emotions which are not processed and which are not healed. That can create a big block for all of us. And she says, since they are direct messages from the body mind, which is telling you, come on, we are giving you this. This is a warning bell we are giving you so that you can be relaxed. The heart will be so happy when you're relaxed. It need not put extra pressure. You are also saved from blood pressure, hypertension, because your heart can beat in a relaxed manner. So, and how do I access the dream? She says simple, every day before getting down, keep a notebook. Make 2 columns, write the dream description, and in the left hand side, she says write the emotions and feelings attached with it. Initially, you may say it may be very hazy, but she says once you start doing the process, you feel very happy. The reasons for it is intention and attention. One, the spiritual law given by Dr. Deepak Chopra. Intention is the desire to become aware. Attention is where you start actually writing down the thing. She says that can work amazingly. She says it can release your unhealed emotions. Getting in touch with your body. She says your spinal cord and other various organs, they are the nodal points of entry into psychosomatic network. The more you enter into psychosomatic network and process the emotions, the more healthy you become. And she says touch therapy is one of the important ones. Massaging, hugging someone, so many things she says can heal the emotions. Using movements to heal emotions, like Veena ma'am is to teach you about the dance. Dance therapy people talk about. The movements, when you do it, they're very healing movements. Music, simpler forms of body work, walking, relaxing, running around. She says all of them are also simple, but they're effective methods of healing emotions. Now, regarding reducing stress, she says she gives the first priority to meditation. Why? She says, while in others you have to become consciously aware of the negative emotions, she says meditation works wonders. You may not even be aware of it, but it can heal the emotions faster. And she says it releases the negative emotions so beautifully. She says it maintains the healthy body mind flow of all these chemicals. And she says even you can recover from diseases and it can make you young. Here I would like to tell you that Sir is initiating a lot of activities for you, be it music or a platform where you exchange or express your views or you talk about, share your experiences, which are nothing but an emotional catharsis. It plays an important role according to her. Candace Pert will be very happy with Sengupta sir because many of the points she's doing, he has been doing it, and each and every active member unknowingly is able to connect the body and mind in a very relaxed manner. So shifting the mind, this is very important to all of us. There are certain words we often keep using. What is it? You should do this, or I should have done this. I could have done this. I would have done this if this one did not prevent me. He says that you will have to remove these types of thinking. And rather, you should think of promoting self-regulating activities. She says, should, could, and would takes you away from connecting to your body and mind. That is, it's not allowing you to face the reality. So getting tuned to it, she says, be aware of it. And many of you must also experience, many people tell me that they have this repeated circular pattern of thinking. And according to Candace Pert, all this happens, the circular pattern of thinking happens because certain parts of the brain is not able to do its activity because of these unresolved emotions getting stuck and not allowing free flow of information. Now she gives another beautiful thing called habit of self-honesty. What does she mean by that? She says, be true to yourself. She says that keeping, not only, we always go extra mile to keep words with her when we commit to somebody else. But when it comes to our own, we don't do it. We want to walk every day, get up in the morning and go for a walk. We postpone it. So you may say, what is it? She says, when there is personal integrity, it leads to a better immunity, and then you will feel you can heal the emotions much faster. But whereas when you do not have the integrity, that is, you say one thing and do something, she says it can affect the psychosomatic network very badly. It can lead to disturbed psychosomatic network. It can cause a lot of stress. It can lead to various illnesses. So she says these are very important for us to understand, that we need to respect ourselves. We need to respect and we need to honor the word we give to ourselves. She says that is one of the easiest ways, she says, but which many people don't do. She says easiest way to heal emotions. Because when you're in touch with your mind and body, it becomes easy for the cell to do their work perfectly. Exercising now, the moment you say exercise, for many people, it's a drudgery. Nobody looks at it with joy or enjoyment. But the way she is interpreting, I would like you to understand that. She says it's an easier way to deal with emotions. She says one of the things she says, when you walk, listen to music. What will that do? Music relaxes your brain. It creates more of alpha wave, which when you're in the alpha state of, when there is alpha wave predominant, you can never have negative feelings. You can never have conflicting thoughts. These are all proven. So both of them combined together, she says, can quickly act and can make you feel positive. She says, and what does it do? It loosens up your stuck emotions. Not only that, it enhances the beautiful communication flow within the cells. It reduces the repeated pattern of thought. Many people talk about this. So next time when you think of exercise, think it's an easy way than popping up some psychiatric medicine. And yoga, she has got great respect for yoga. She says that's the best technique available, because she says a health enhancing form of exercise, where she says there is conscious breathing, there is a relaxation, and the postures, according to her, which all combined together plays an important role. I'm going quickly through this because time is limited, but the next point is very, very important. Eating wisely. Eating is not only for survival, but it has got a high emotional event. It's a highly emotional event. Both your large and small intestines are all lined with these peptides. For example, she says your pancreas has got 20 neuropeptides, all of them laden with emotional content. And they give you information about your hunger, whether you're satisfied with your hunger. You may say, ma'am, what weight is going to help me? She says you need to listen to this information. Why? Because emotions that accompany eating is very important to her, as important as vitamin and minerals. If you ignore this information, that is, you eat when you are not hungry, you use food to just bury unpleasant emotions, you eat when you are nervous, you eat when you are depressed. So turning the emotion as information, and so you need to tune the information related to digestion and assimilation, which this neuropeptides only give you, and which is also the emotional content. So she says, please rely on feeling, not on impulses. Your environment should be very peaceful and free. You should enjoy the good company. What should be the do's when you eat? Don't eat when you're emotionally upset. What happens? She says you gain weight. There is a body-mind split and it can create more problems. So she says, don't go unconscious while eating. Everyone keeps looking at the TV or mobile while they're eating. She says that is very bad. You disconnect yourself from body and mind. So next time when you're eating, please be conscious of your eating. She says these lead to body-mind split, weight gain, and diseases. What are the do's? She says, bless the food when you eat. Express gratitude for the people. This is told even in our ancient wisdom. And she says it can give you amazing result. The last point she talks about is avoiding substance abuse. She says all drugs, they all alter the natural flow of this good peptides, this good neuropeptides, which makes us feel emotionally happy. She says these emotion causes people to, why do you go for drugs when your emotions are not processed properly? And when you're cut off, that is why you use drugs. But she says these drugs may give you initially some elevated experiences, but unfortunately, they also decrease the peptide secretion. which means you will become victims to more illness. But lucky, she says, good news is this physiological efforts can be reversed, even though it is a slow and painful process. But with nutrition, exercise, getting into the psychosomatic network, meeting a psychotherapist can all help to reverse. I just added this, even though this is not a point. Earlier, she would never speak of spirituality. But somewhere later on, as she delved more into this subject deeply, she felt that science is a spiritual endeavor. She said scientists must trust the inner voice, which she felt she tuned into, and she could amazingly come up with so many truths about the body and mind. And she says the higher intelligence comes to us from our own very molecules. Rational, masculine, materialistic world today places more value on what? Competition and aggression. She says science is a truth-seeking endeavor, which always leads to cooperation, coordination. She says there is a higher intelligence having a big psychosomatic network in the sky, she calls it. She says we are all a part of this network. And this shared connection gives our most profound sense of spirituality, making us feel all connected and whole. I would like to conclude saying this: emotions need not be dreaded anymore, be it negative or positive. They're all tuned to our own self-care. And getting in tune with this, processing them, redirecting them would make us healthy, wealthy, and wise. And a big thank you to Sengupta sir. All the activities in his MRL are all directed towards healing emotions. I don't need to talk much about it. Thank you all. It was so nice connecting to you all. You can always, any doubts related to it. In fact, probably if possible, if sir allows, maybe we could take one emotion and see how we can process through it a month or later, so that we know exactly how to go about, whether it could be fear or it could be anger. We could do it the scientist way. Thank you.
Now the floor is open for discussion. Madam, yes, you can close. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I have closed.
Thank you very much, Jayashree, for your informative and a very good session. And I want to ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a lot of pain management knowledge and all. So are you free from mental pains and physical pains? Are you able to control your pains?
Let me tell you. Good, you asked me this question.
Samata, yes.
During COVID, I lost 4 members due to COVID. Okay, there are so many things that happened during these 2 years. But I do think that a way of looking at life, because everyone is in the queue. It's today or tomorrow. Once we accept the fact, and when you see somebody departing, it makes you more realize the value of gift of life today. Every moment today should be treated as a gift, and we need to live in the present and make the best of it. If I sit and cry and work, it's not going to help. I'm going to make myself more sick. I'm going to make people around me gloomy. If I know that these are the harsh realities of life, and once the acceptance itself, Candace but says, when you accept the reality, that itself is a great process in healing emotions. And I do use her creative technique of this beta endorphin. I tried it in one of the workshop also. But when you keep continuously practicing, according to her, she says it does help you. There is no harm in trying it out. People who have been into a lot of mental problem, one cannot get immediate release because they may not be aware of the deep-rooted problems. So they need the guidance of a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist. But she says, in fact, her discovery shattered the pharmaceutical industry because they were making money. And she said there will be a day when people will stop taking these medicines to relieve themselves of all these mental illnesses. That was the challenge she had thrown to them. She unfortunately died in the year 2008. I used to always feel if she was alive today, probably she would have dealt with COVID in a different manner. The super intelligent woman, when any of you get time, please read about her and the book. It's her own personal story with all her scientific research work and all that. And I do not know, I just would like to ask you all that knowing this information, has it made you all feel good about yourself, about the wonderful system your body has to heal you, or the mind which always wants to help you all. They're all our very good friends, and we need to Literally, we need to date our mind. We need to fall in love with our mind and our body. I tell you, they can do amazing things to us. This is what I feel.
Madam, can you tell me the name of the book once again, please?
It is written by Candace Pert. The name of the book is Molecules of Emotion.
Molecules
Of Emotion.
Molecules of Emotions.
Yeah.
And then the author, please.
I'll spell it. C-A-N-D-A-C-E. Candace. C-A-N-D-A-C-E. Candace Pert. P-E-R-T. Pert. Candace Pert.
Can you show me? Can you show the book, please? Can you show the book?
Yeah. Can you see? I do not know
I
why.
can't see the author's name.
I am not able to. Why is it coming?
It's gone, yes.
Molecules of Emotion is the book. You have so many books written by her later, where she talks about in detail about various alternative therapies which may help you also.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
I am R.K. Modi.
Yes, sir.
Can this blood pressure, heart stoppage, etc. be treated with this therapy?
According to Candace Pert, sir, in fact, I do not know. In one of the talk I had talked about, there is another interesting person whose knowledge about your body and mind is amazing. Dr. Bruce Lipton. His book is called Biology of Belief. And he has proved it with experiment on people who had cancer. And he took a control group and a experimental group, and by just making them believe about something, it was shocking, but it was true that the intensity of cancer reduced in that. So today they say that your cells in the body can interact with the environment and with positive attitude can alter its way.
Better than
And
yesterday.
it can definitely, meditation is one of the important things prescribed even by doctor today to reduce your blood pressure. I have suggested that to many and they have really found it very helpful. You yourself can monitor your blood pressure initially, start doing a course of meditation. There is something called even heartfelt meditation, which is very simple, where they make you teach you relaxation. They tell you to get in touch with your heart, and then they tell you how to deal with negative emotions. There are hundreds of meditation techniques in our country, Vipassana, so many things are there. But you can monitor, take your BP. Later on, after doing meditation for a month, check your BP, and I can assure you that it has to show a change. Meditation has that profound benefit.
Yes, Jayashree, that's well said. Yeah, it's true.
Madam,
With meditation,
therapy clinic is available in Navi Mumbai.
Yes. Yeah. I can give you some names. Uday Acharya ji also is sitting here. There are so many people. There are so many. In fact, if sir permits, we could have one day some meditation technique and see if from a scientist perspective, what are the various parts of the body, what changes it undergoes. We probably can look at it also.
Yes, meditation can do wonders.
See,
Thank you,
initially
madam.
for a person who does meditation, no, he feels so disturbed because he's all the time running behind the thoughts. So slowly, when you start detaching yourself, when you, like what Candace Pert beautifully said, being, not doing, let the thoughts do its job. In mind, the thoughts are going to flow. You can't say thoughts. It is wrong to say control your thoughts. There's no question of controlling thoughts. It's nature of mind, the thoughts will flow. Just like you see a river flowing and watching it, if you slowly develop the art of watching it, and that can give you a lot of energy. It frees your mind from so many issues. But it is true. And I would like you all to read, if it's possible, even I think there could be even some YouTube videos. But it is amazing, sir. Our ancient wisdom is amazing, and all these things are validated by scientists today. That's all I can say.
Can I ask a question, ma'am?
Yes,
If you can advise us very simple sort of a procedure or a technique to control the fear emotions.
sir, that cannot be done in few minutes now because we're running out of time. What I would say is, I definitely would come back to you one day, only dealing with this 1 hour we can do only on fear. I can tell you that much. We can do it.
Fine, ma'am, fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Because there are so many things related to that. I won't be able to do justice to it. But one thing is there. When you experience, when you are able to watch the fear, you know very well that you are something different from the fear you're watching. Even that kind of awareness itself also can give us little release. I'm just giving you a quick, which is not that easy to get in. But the very fact I don't know whether you heard about Eckhart Tolle, a German person who's, you can go through his YouTube videos. He was severely a depression victim, thought of committing suicide twice. Ultimately, one day he suddenly got his awareness and he talks about power of now, the present moment. And there he talks about it, how one gets released, intense fear which had gripped him, the anxiety which gripped him, and how he just got relieved from it. Beautiful, sir. Our own, I think there are so many things in our own ancient wisdom. We can talk about it later related to fear. Definitely one day we can get back. From the science point of view, I can tell you, we have a lot of philosophers in our group. They can also talk to you about that. But whatever little information I've gained from these people, which I feel very fascinating, I would like to share with you. That's
Thanks. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jayashree.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excellent
Thank
session.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks a
you
lot.
very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you, Jayashree.
Welcome.
Thank you, madam.
Welcome.
Thank you, madam.